as they see fit. And so this is working. People like this. We can use this for both internally as well as to expose this to customers and to subcontractors as well. There's again, the nice integration with Project Server in terms of bringing in tasks from project activities, milestones, deliverables, approvals. It's all working quite nicely. And then the Excel 2007 has a new feature called Excel Services, which allows you to publish Excel charts and graphs. Yes, sir.
Is the dashboard running the conversations now?
Yes.
And so, is there any negative, like, are things not making the dashboard that should, or are things being missed because people are so focused on dashboard metrics?
That's a good question. I mean, the dashboard is not the most important thing, and people eventually come to figure that out. The bosses like the dashboards, but people who are feeding the dashboards learn pretty quickly that it's the stuff behind there that's important. But that's what I was saying. It's like the Excel Services, which is a new feature in 2007. Not the greatest thing in the world, but a big step forward from what we had before, but allows you to publish up Excel spreadsheets and Excel charts right into a web-enabled environment like that. That little pie chart right there is actually went from an accounting system project status report emailed into a document library here, configured to talk to that little web dashboard object, and flashes automatically. Yes, sir.
Is this interconnected with Exchange? I'm assuming because you have tasks. So are you able to link your tasks out to Outlook?
You're ahead of me.
Sorry.
No, yeah, it is. I mean, that's kind of the one of the nice things for all its blemishes and warts is that it is all nicely integrated with the whole Office suite as well. That answer your question? But,
yeah.
Dashboards are cool. Dashboards are everything. Yes.
Beyond the front end of the SharePoint, are you gaining economies of scales? Are you creating libraries that allow your workload to become automated?
That
I know that's a tough thing to do because it's contract work, but in the case where you own it as a capital purchase, I'm wondering if you create frameworks for documents and stuff like that, so that as you repetitively do these contracts coming down the road, is it allowing you to create libraries to accelerate either the capture process or the delivery process?
In theory, absolutely. I mean, and that's kind of where we're going, and that kind of anticipates the end of the discussion. Is in order to really optimize these systems, you must do that, and that's really how we capture the economies.
I know that a lot of that's in its infancy, but right now you guys haven't.
Well, it gets back to us as the PMPs and as the purveyors of this standards-based approach to things, and how we communicate that, and how we sell that within our organizations. In our company, we're basically a holding company that is composed of lots of different other business units. That most of them are acquisitions. The culture has been the culture of warring tribes, and so while we have this competitive culture, at the same time we're moving in the opposite direction, saying, okay, let's all do an enterprise thing together, and let's all do enterprise resource management together. And it's a big shift, and particularly when you're dealing with a retired major general who's been used to doing things a certain way for the last 30 years, and come in and say, okay, we're changing things. It's a hard sell, but that's absolutely where you got to go, and where the winners are going to be in terms of adopting, really making full use of this type of technology. But you see the little lights there showing quality metrics, risk metrics, cost, schedule variance. It's all other little lights showing you status on activities, drawing information from the project schedule. So this is making my job easier in terms of people want this. We are having to manage, growing demand for that. Ironically, where the greatest demand or the greatest success has been in internal corporate projects, as opposed to the direct customer-facing projects. So the greatest number of users right now are people doing internal business process management, internal acquisition management, stuff like that. But it's a good start. Just a little bit more on kind of, again, right out of the box, SharePoint 2007, publishing up through Excel services, get these types of pretty charts. These are charts actually that have been brought up from Decker Tracker, crunched together with budgets and actuals and publishing out. Again, good response for this. No extra requirements, just right out of the basic functions. What do we got here? And the other point I want to make is there's just more and more really good stuff coming down the road. This is a third-party dashboard package that is much nicer than what comes out of the box with SharePoint and Excel services, but it's really not very expensive from the standpoint, just a quantum jump ahead of quality and attractiveness of the graphics. Also very using the same basic SharePoint type of interface and techniques. But there are people now, I suppose, all over the world now who are constructing these little applets and web parts that are designed to work with SharePoint. And it's just a growing library out there. And people are coming forward with specialized designs of these web parts that can be dropped in to perform all sorts of different functions. And that's kind of what's exciting about this. It's sort of like an iPhone type of thing where all these new applets are being developed and put on the market.
You know, one of the problems with this, putting the technology aside, or maybe addressing it specifically, so now you have information that's displayed in a way that everyone can understand. Isn't the part of now the problem you face directly that you may have indirectly faced before is that a lot of people, whether you're in government or private sector, a lot of leadership doesn't want to see that all their 90% of their projects finish, 50%, finish late or finish over budget by 50% or whatever the information is. Right? So does this doesn't really do anything to address that. That's a really sort of a separate issue. But
that's an executive sponsorship issue. The other point is that the security and the views are also highly configurable, so that if you don't want something widely spread, it's a few mouse clicks in order to limit that particular view of things to a smaller audience. But the bottom line is that if we want the truth, we're going to have to deal with the truth, and that goes back to executive sponsorship and the realization that it is better to deal with bad news than not, from a long-term perspective.
So are you saying the internal view is dynamic, and then the outside view to the government client or whatever it is a static view?
Not. It's